Hello friends, welcome to Affairs Cloud Learn to Lead. This is Ashu and today we will discuss very important current affairs of 11th of May 2021. You can see two best images of the day, but today we will discuss very important and most important current affair. So watch this video till last and I'm requesting you all the students that you have to like this video. You have to share this video as maximum as possible and you have to subscribe our channel if you are new on this platform. But before proceeding, I just want to discuss about our application. You can download our application and application name is Careers Cloud. And you can download this application from the description box link. We put a downloading link in the description box. And by clicking on that link, you can download this application very easily. After download, you have to log in with your email ID, and after login you have to click on this crack current affair section, and after clicking on you can subscribe for 1 year as well as for 2 year. It means you can subscribe for 12 months as well as for 24 months. Both the prices are very much low. If you see the price, you will definitely surprise. And guys, I'm telling you that 90 to 95% current affair which are coming in your exams are covered by Affairs Cloud. This is genuinity of Affairs Cloud. And what we are providing under this subscription, we are providing daily current affairs. In the daily current affair section, we are providing three type of the sections. One is related to detailed current affair of particular day. Second is the question and answer format of current affair of particular day. And third is the quiz section, which you can attempt on our application. Next is the weekly section. In the weekly section, again, we are providing three type of the sections. One is related to detailed current affair of particular week. Next is the question and answer format of current affair of particular week, and third is the quiz section which you can attempt on an application. Next is the most important section, that is monthly section. We are providing four type of PDFs to enhance your performance. One is the study PDF. It means all the detailed and theoretical current affair will be provided under this PDF. And to revise this current affair in the question and answer format, we are also providing question and answer format of the current affair of particular month. We are also providing top 100. It means the best 100 current affairs in the format of question and answer, so that you can revise again and again before your exam. And last is the pocket PDF. As the name suggests, it is very important to revise the current affairs like in one liner or the two liner or three liner before your exam. So it is a quick format to revision. So guys, this is daily, weekly and the monthly section, but we are again providing smart PDFs like topic wise PDF. We are covering or providing 20 most important topics which will definitely enhance your performance in your exam. And if you want to just revise one particular topic before your exam, if you feel that is weak, and you can revise from this topic wise, like apps and web portal, important days, books and authors, national current affair, international current affair. We are covering most important 20 topics. And if you are a banking aspirant, then we are again providing three type of the sections. One is related to detailed current affair of banking and economy, question and answer format of only banking and economy. Next is the quiz section which you can attempt on our application, and you can check that how much current affair you can retain only related to banking and economy. Next is exam PDF. If you just want to revise all the current affair of particular years from single PDF, then this PDF is for you. Like suppose your exam is tomorrow, then you just want to revise all the 2021 past 4 months current affair, then you have to pick this PDF, exam PDF, and you can revise all the current affair of particular year. Next is special current affair. Special current affair stands for budget and economic survey. We are covering factual data related to budget and economic survey. Also, we are providing expected question and answer which examiner can ask only related to budget and economic survey. You are preparing for your center government exam. Definitely you are preparing for your respective state. That's why we are covering state current affairs to enhance your state exam performance, and we are covering every state and union territory. So guys, there is no different subscription for every topic. There is just a single subscription for all topics, and you have to just download our application name is Careers Cloud from the description box link. You have to click on this login with Google. It means you can log in with your email ID, and you have to click on this crack current affair section. After clicking on this crack current affair section, you can subscribe for 1 year as well as for 2 year. Prices are already very low. If you see the price, you will definitely surprise, and on that minimal price we are providing 10% extra discount. If you use this code ASH10, then you will get 10% extra discount. If you have any type of query, then you can mail us on this email ID, you can call us on this number, or you can comment in any video. I am personally entertaining all your queries, and I am personally answering all the comments. So guys, you can also comment in the any video. So guys, let's start today's video. That is 11th of May 2021. But I am again requesting you all the students that you have to like this video. 700 plus likes we want. You have to share this video as maximum as possible, and you have to subscribe this channel if you are new on this platform. So let's begin today's session with our most important question section, and here is our first question. Who won Spanish Grand Prix 2021? 3 or 4 days back, we covered one Grand Prix that is known as Portuguese Grand Prix, and this was won by one and only player that is known as Lewis Hamilton. And guys, Emilia Romagna Grand Prix, EMILIA, that is Emilia Romagna Grand Prix. This Grand Prix was won by Max Verstappen. Before that, there was Bahrain Grand Prix. Bahrain Grand Prix was won by Lewis Hamilton. So guys, you can see here, first of this year Grand Prix was Bahrain Grand Prix and it was won by Lewis Hamilton. Emilia Romagna Grand Prix was won by Max Verstappen, and Portuguese Grand Prix was won by Lewis Hamilton. Now we are talking about the fourth Grand Prix of this year, that is known as Spanish Grand Prix, because the track was in Spain, so that's why it is known as Spanish Grand Prix, and again it was won by Lewis Hamilton. So answer of this question is A. And this is the 98th victory of Lewis Hamilton, 98th F1 race win of Lewis Hamilton. So this is the highest. And guys, remember Max Verstappen, and he basically on the second rank, and Valtteri Bottas on the third rank. So this is a common thing, because first rank always goes to Lewis Hamilton. In the maximum races, it is Lewis Hamilton. And you have to remember, Lewis Hamilton belongs to which country? He belongs to Britain. He belongs to which country? Britain. Max Verstappen belongs to which country? Max Verstappen belongs to Netherlands. And Valtteri Bottas belongs to which country? He belongs to Finland. So these are the countries of these famous players. And guys, remember, the F1 championships are organized by Federation International the Automobile, and this Federation International the Automobile headquarters is in France, or you can say Paris. So you can see here Lewis Hamilton is here, and Lewis Hamilton beats Verstappen to secure 100th career pole position at Spanish Grand Prix 2021, because this victory is the 98th victory of this player, and Lewis Hamilton was become the first Formula 1 driver to seal 100 pole position. This is very important. What is this pole position? It is the first position in the starting grid when the race is starting. And remember, this championship or F1 championships are organized by Federation International the Automobile. Its headquarters is in Paris, France. And guys, remember about Lewis Hamilton. Its full name is Lewis Carl Davidson Hamilton, and he is a British racing driver. He is the only black driver to race in the sport. He is only black driver to race in the sport, and he has a joint record of 7 World Drivers Championship title, and it tied with the Michael Schumacher, and he also won the most Formula wins like 98 and most pole positions like 100 pole positions. And I already covered that. What is the pole position? It is the first position in the starting grid when the race is starting, and 100 times he secured this pole position. So guys, remember these things, and remember the past Formula racing championships. One is the Portuguese also won by the Lewis Hamilton. Emilia Romagna won by the Max Verstappen. Bahrain won by the Lewis Hamilton. So maximum races are won by the Lewis Hamilton. So don't remember which are basically won by the Lewis Hamilton. Only remember which are lost by Lewis Hamilton. So like one is the Emilia Romagna. So this is won by the Max Verstappen. So all others are basically won by Lewis Hamilton. So rather than you have to remember this Lewis Hamilton, you can remember the Formula 1 racing which are won by the other players. So this is important. Now we can move to the next question. Which country opened the world longest pedestrian suspension bridge named 516 Aroca? So the most important keyword under this question, it is the world longest pedestrian suspension bridge, and it named as 516 Aroca. Aroca is basically a place in which country? It is in Portugal. So answer of this question is C. Answer of this question is C. And this bridge is situated on which river? This is situated on Paiva River. Paiva River is in which country? It is in Portugal. So guys, remember, Portugal opened the world longest pedestrian suspension bridge named 516 Aroca. Why it is known as 516? Because its total length of this bridge is 516 meter. That's why it is known as 516, and Aroca stand for the name of the place. And the 516 meter long bridge is built on the Aroca Geopark, which is suspended at 175 meter above the Paiva River. And you can see this bridge. This is a A-shaped bridge. You can see the A-shaped here. And this is the world longest pedestrian suspension bridge known as the 516 Aroca, opens in the Portugal. And total length is 516 meter, and it is in Aroca Geopark, and it is suspended on 175 meter above the Paiva River. It means the height from the river is 175 meter. And at present, this is the longest pedestrian suspension bridge in Europe, which surpassed the 494 meters Clark's or Charles Koenen Bridge in Switzerland. So earlier, the European longest pedestrian bridge was Charles Canonian Bridge that was situated in Switzerland, but now the Europe longest bridge is this. This is 516 Aroka, and the walkway is made up of 127 interlocking metal cages. Like you can see here, these are the metal interlockings. So you can see on the image also. And guys, remember the structure of the concrete tower is an inverted A shape, marks the landing ports of the bridge and sports two-wheel suspension cables that support the steel walkway. And the glass bottom bridge which was very famous, and it was situated in China. So remember, it is a glass bottom bridge in China, which was completed in 2020. Is the world longest glass bottom bridge, but it is in China. It is a glass bottom. It is a pedestrian suspension bridge. So both are different things. And guys, you can also remember about Portugal. Portugal capital is Lisbon, and Portugal currency is euro. So this is basically you have to remember. Now we can move to the next question. Himanta Biswa Sarma was sworn in as the Dash Chief Minister of Assam. Earlier, the Chief Minister was Sarabnanda Sonowal. He was belonged to BJP party, but this person also belonged to BJP party. It means BJP just shifted the candidates as a candidate of the Chief Minister. So new Chief Minister of Assam is Himanta Biswa Sarma, and he was sworn in as the Dash Chief Minister of Assam. As a number wise you have to tell me, and answer of this question is 15th Chief Minister of Assam. Remember, 15th Chief Minister of Assam, but Himanta Biswa and Sarabnanda Sonowal both are the candidates of the BJP, and he was administered oath by the Governor of the state, and Governor of state is Jagdish Mukhi. Jagdish Mukhi is the currently Governor of Assam. And you can see here, Himanta Biswa Sarma sworn in as the 15th Chief Minister of Assam. And he has replaced the Sarabnanda Sonowal, already told you. He was administered the oath by the Governor Jagdish Mukhi, because under Article 164, all the ministers and Chief Minister is appointed by the Governor. But all the ministers are appointed only with the recommendation of the Chief Minister. And BJP-led National Democratic Alliance secured a comfortable majority in Assam by winning 75 seats of the total 126 constituencies. And out of this 75 seats, 66 alone belongs to BJP party. And after that, you can say the other seats belongs to two alliances of the BJP. One is the Assam Gana Parishad, and second is the United People Party, or it is also known as the Liberal Party. So guys, you can just remember the NDA government again crossed the majority in Assam. Earlier was also the BJP government. And remember about Assam Chief Minister we already covered, Himanta Biswa Sarma, and he is currently the 15th Chief Minister, and Governor is Jagdish Mukhi, capital is Dispur. But you have to also remember there are 6 national parks that are very important in Assam. One national park was recently added, that was Raimona National Park. Raimona National Park. Second is, you can remember Kaziranga National Park, that is very important. I think every student knows that. Manas National Park, that is also very important. Nameri National Park, Orang National Park. So how many? Raimona, Kaziranga, Manas, Nameri, Orang, and there is one most important, Dibru Saikova Biosphere Reserve, and also the National Park. So it is one of the Biosphere Reserve out of 18 Biosphere Reserve. So you have to remember Dibru Saikova Biosphere Reserve. So now we can move to the next question. Which company in India has been ranked the fastest growing retailer in the world according to 2021 ranking of global retail powerhouses? First of all, guys, you have to remember that this 2021 ranking of global retail powerhouses is released by which organization? It is released by one very important company that is known as Deloitte. So I am writing here DELOITTE. Its headquarters is in which country? Its headquarters is in United Kingdom. And this company released the fastest growing retailers and also the list of the retailers ranking. And guys, the fastest retailer all over world from India is Reliance Retail Limited. It means I am talking about which person? I am talking about millionaire Mukesh Ambani. Reliance Retail Limited has been ranked the second fastest growing retailer in the world. But in India, it is the first. But all over world, it is the second fastest growing retailer, which is first rank down from 2020, because in 2020 Reliance Retail Limited was ranked on the fastest growing retailer. It means the most fastest growing retailer in the world in 2020 was Mukesh Ambani's Reliance Retail Limited. But now it is one rank down, and it is on the second position all over world. So guys, you can also see here Reliance Retail, second fastest growing retailer in the world. Then you are thinking about who is the first, which is basically the first fastest growing retailer, or the most fastest growing retailer. This company belongs to South Korea and name is Coupang. So you can see here Coupang is the world's first fastest growing retailer, and in the report of the list of the global powers retailing, Reliance Limited was ranked 53rd. In 2020, it was on the 56th rank, but in 2021, it is on the 53rd rank. And first rank goes to Walmart. Second rank goes to Amazon.com. And third rank goes to a wholesale corporation of United States that is known as Costco. And you don't have to remember all the ranks. You have to remember the first and second. Walmart is on the first, and second rank goes to the Amazon.com. And our Reliance Retail on the global list is on the 53rd rank. And guys, remember, it was the only Indian entry in the global list of 250 retailers. It means out of 250 retailers, only one company belongs to India, that is Reliance, and Reliance rank is 53rd. But in 2020, its rank is 56th. Reliance Retail is partnering with the WhatsApp to further accelerate Reliance Retail digital commerce business on the JioMart platform using the WhatsApp contact numbers or using the WhatsApp technology. And guys, you can also remember it will support small businesses on the WhatsApp. So this is Reliance Retail, and it is a subsidiary of Reliance Industries Limited. It was established in 2006, headquarters in Mumbai, Maharashtra, founder is Mukesh Ambani. So guys, remember this information, and always remember the first rank goes to Walmart, second rank goes to Amazon.com, and only Indian one company, that is Reliance Retail, the rank is 53rd. And in the fastest growing ranking, its rank is second. So now we are moving to next question. Which company hosted 3rd Arctic Science Ministerial 2021? So guys, the most important keyword under this question is Arctic Science Ministerial. What is this thing? This is the third time that this meeting is took place. But Arctic Science Ministerial is a global platform for discussing research and cooperation in the Arctic region. By the name, you can guess that it is just to discuss the research and cooperation in the Arctic region, and it is an event initiated by the Arctic Council. This is important, guys. Arctic Council. How many countries are member of Arctic Council? We will discuss, but you have to remember this Arctic Science Ministerial is a platform which was created by Arctic Council, and this is a basically a 2-year event. It means it happens once in a 2 year. Like in 2018, it was happened in Germany. In 2016, it was happened in United States of America. In 2020, it was cancelled, so that why it is held in 2021. And which country is hosting this 3rd Arctic Science Ministerial meeting of 2021? It is hosted by Japan. It is hosted by Japan, and from India, it is attended by Dr. Harshvardhan. And from India, it is attended virtually. And Dr. Harshvardhan, Union Minister of Earth Science, represented India in the 3rd Arctic Science Ministerial 2021, which is held in Tokyo, Japan, and it was held in 8th and 9th May of 2021. But this meeting was organized by which country? This meeting was organized by 2 countries. One is Iceland and second is Japan. So you can see here, India participate in the 3rd Arctic Ministerial meeting and shares plan for research and long-term cooperation in the Arctic area. And what is the theme? Knowledge for a sustainable Arctic. You can also see this. It was jointly organized by Iceland and Japan, but it is hosted by only Japan. And this is the first time. This is the first time that this meeting is hosted by Asian country, that is Japan. And guys, remember, you can see here, and the theme is knowledge for a sustainable Arctic. This is the theme. This is the most important thing you have to remember. And this Arctic Science Ministerial meeting is a global platform for discussing research and cooperation in the Arctic region. And this organization is created by Arctic Council. And Dr. Harshvardhan virtually represented India. Even he represented, and he also contributed that India is also set to launch NISAR. NISAR stands for NASA ISRO. This is a tie-up of NASA and ISRO, synthetic aperture radar, in collaboration with the United States of America. It will help in conducting global measurement of the cause and consequences of land surface changes using advanced radar imaging. And this is the technology which is known as NISAR, and India will launch with the help of NASA and the United States of America. And it will definitely help in conducting global measurements of the cause and consequences of the land surface changes. And this is the radar technology by which we can get this data. And India Research research activities in the Arctic regions are coordinated and conducted by National Center for Polar Research, Ocean Research in Goa. So there is another important thing. Examiner can ask the headquarter of this institute, that is known as National Center for Polar and Ocean Research. Its headquarter is in Goa. Even Dr. Harshvardhan stated that India aims to contribute to the observing system in the Arctic through both on-site and remote sensing ways. That's why there is an institute that is known as National Center for Polar and Ocean Research, that is situated in Goa, and all the you can say contribution made by India in the Arctic region through this center, that is National Center for Polar and Ocean Research. And guys, you have to remember, India has a permanent research station in the Arctic called Himadri. This is again most important thing, that in the Arctic region we have a permanent research station that is known as Himadri. In which area? In Spitsbergen, Svalbard, Norway. In which country? It is in Norway. And guys, always remember about Arctic Council. Arctic Council is very, very important because it addresses issue faced by the Arctic governments and indigenous people of the Arctic, and it was formed in 1996. And how many countries are member? Total 8 countries are member. You can see here the countries are Russia, you can see here, Finland is here, Sweden is here, Norway, Iceland, Denmark, Canada, and United States of America. So these are the 8 countries which are the member of the Arctic Council. Other observer states are 13. India is also the observer state. Remember, India has a observer status in the Arctic Council, and since 2013 India has a observer status. Even China has observer status, Japan has observer status. So these have the observer status. And you can also see here, this is the Himadri. This is the research station in the Arctic area, which is situated in the Norway. And Dr. Harshvardhan proposed that India will be given an opportunity to host the next Arctic Science Ministerial meeting, or the future Arctic Science Ministerial meeting. But next year it is not decided yet which country will host this type of the meeting, but now it is hosted by Japan. So these are the things you have to remember. You have to remember about Arctic Council. 8 countries are member. 1996 it was formed. It is for the Arctic people and the Arctic governments, which countries are basically sharing the boundary with the Arctic area. And India is also launching the NISARS aperture radar, which is also known as NASA's ISRO, which will definitely enhance the performance of Indian capability because it will help in conducting global measurements. So now we can move to the next question. India and which country's navies recently conducted PASEX in the Arabian Sea? It is not so much important question, but it is in between 2 countries because PASEX exercise is with so many countries. First of all, you have to remember what is PASEX. You have to remember this. It is usually conducted between the 2 navies, and it is to make sure that navies are able to communicate and cooperate in times of war or the humanitarian relief. And the drills carried out during PASEX include flashing light drills, you can say semaphore drills, and the flag hoist drills. This is known as the PASEX. And this country and Indian Navy also conducted this exercise in the February 2021, and same in the Arabian Sea. And answer of this country is Indonesia. So answer of this question is D. And guys, remember about Indonesia. Indonesia president is Joko Widodo. Capital is Jakarta, and currency is rupiah. And you can also see this picture that India and Indonesian navies conducted exercise of Arabian Sea, PASEX exercise. And guys, you can also remember from the Indian side, it is INS Sharda of an offshore patrol vessel with a Chetak helicopter participated in the exercise. And guys, remember Garuda Shakti is a bilateral exercise between the special forces of armies between India and Indonesia. So this is important. Garuda Shakti is a bilateral exercise between the special forces of armies of India and Indonesia. And PASEX, I already covered this point, but you have to remember the other exercise. Other exercise you can see here, the country is United States of America. With United States of America, India did one exercise recently that is known as the Vajra Prahar 2021. Which exercise? Vajra Prahar 2021, and this exercise was conducted in Himachal Pradesh. Next country here is the France. So guys, you can also remember about France. We did this exercise like Shakti exercise is with France. And also the Garuda exercise is also the Air Force exercise which was conducted with the France. Next is Bangladesh. Very famous exercise with Bangladesh is Sampriti. So this exercise is with the Bangladesh. So you have to remember these exercises because there are so many exercises you have to remember. So you have to remember with the options. Now we can move to the next question. Now all the most important questions have we covered. Now we are moving to very important questions, guys. You have to provide us 700 plus likes. You have to subscribe this channel and you have to share this video as maximum as possible. Here is the first question. Which bank and common service centers announced the launch of a chatbot called EVA to support village level entrepreneurs? So guys, the most important keyword under this question are common service centers, and it will support the village level entrepreneurs through this chatbot. Chatbot name is EVA. I will ask this question in the one liner that what is the name of the chatbot. And guys, bank name is HDFC Bank. And first of all, you have to remember this common service centers. It is an information and communication technology centers enabled front end service delivery point formed under the National E-Governance Plan, which was formed in 2006. And it is to offer web enabled e-governance services from government to citizen. So this is the common service center. It means all the services of the government will be provided through these physical common service centers. And guys, what is the objective of this MOU, or you can say the tie-up of common service center and this bank? It is just to provide banking services to the last mile rural consumers. And guys, you can also see here HDFC Bank and common service center joins hand to bring chatbot EVA for village level entrepreneurs. Now what will they do? Under EVA, the village level entrepreneurs could become a business correspondent by getting access to the training content and taking a quiz before getting the certification. And by this training, these village level entrepreneurs could learn about HDFC Bank products and services, account opening and loan in EVA. And around almost 1,27,000 village level entrepreneurs are currently providing HDFC Bank service products and services in the semi-urban and the rural India. It means by getting the training from this EVA platform, the village level entrepreneurs can provide these services to the village area, or you can say the semi-urban or the rural India. So among the village level entrepreneurs, you can say some can become the business correspondent, and they will help people to save through recurring and fixed deposit and enable them to avail themselves home loans, car loans, tractor loans, or the two-wheeler loan. It means by getting training from this EVA platform, they will help the rural India by getting by providing the services or by providing the loans or by opening their account. So its main objective to provide banking service to the last mile rural customer. And guys, you have to remember recently HDFC Bank was launched Smartup Unnati, a mentoring program by women for the women entrepreneurs. So it is started by the women and it is for the women entrepreneurs. So under this program, senior women leaders from the HDFC Bank with expertise spanning domains will mentor women entrepreneurs to achieve their goals in the next year. So this is the target of the HDFC Bank, and it was launched in March 2021. So this is important. Smartup Unnati. It is launched by HDFC Bank Women's, and it is for the women entrepreneurs, and it will mentor the women entrepreneurs to achieve their goals in the next year. And guys, remember who is currently the managing director of these common service centers, because it is a government entity. So you have to remember managing director is Dinesh Tyagi. Dinesh Tyagi. He is currently the managing director of this common service center. And always remember about HDFC. HDFC was established in 1994. Its headquarters is in Mumbai, Maharashtra. Its MD and CEO is Shashidhar Jagdishan, and tagline is "We understand your world." We understand your world. So this is HDFC. Now we can move to the next question. Who won in men's single 2021 Madrid Open? So you have to remember just two things about the Madrid Open 2021. First of all, it is related to which game. Second, men's single and women's single, who won this tournament. Nothing else about this tournament. Only three things. Madrid Open belongs to which game. Second, men's open or men's single won by which player, and women's single won by which player. So Madrid Open belongs to which game? It belongs to tennis. So first answer is complete. Now second answer is who won in the men's single tournament? It is Alexander Zverev. So you have to remember only the name Alexander Zverev, and he belongs to which country? He belongs to Germany. And he defeated which player? He defeated Matteo Berrettini. And Matteo Berrettini belongs to which country? Belongs to Italy. But you don't have to learn about the runner-up. You have to just remember who is the winner, Alexander Zverev. And you can see who won in the women's singles 2021 Madrid Open. Now again, you have to just remember the winner. Winner is Aryna Sabalenka. Aryna Sabalenka. You have to just remember. I think my pronunciation can be wrong, but you have to just remember the name. And she belongs to which country? She belongs to Belarus. She belongs to Belarus. And basically, she defeated the world number one player, Ashleigh Barty. So she is the runner up. And Ashleigh Barty belongs to which country? Belongs to Australia. So guys, three things: Madrid Open, men's tournament won, and women tournament won by which player? Other things are not important. And you can see here, Alexander Zverev beats Berrettini to win his second Madrid Open titles in 2021. And from the men's single, and you have to remember the women singles. And Madrid Open is a clay court event. Remember, it is a clay court event like the French Open. French Open is also a clay court event. And who is the king of French Open? King of French Open is Rafael Nadal, or Rafa Nadal. Now we can move to the next question. Which country hosted 16th India European Leaders Meeting 2021? So the most important keyword under this question is India European Leaders Meeting. And India is also attending this meeting. Even India attended this meeting. And this meeting is hosted by which country? It is hosted by Portugal. Again, we are discussing which country? Portugal. We already discussed one question about Portugal, like which country opened the world longest pedestrian suspension bridge named 516 Aroca, and this is Portugal again. Now, India European Leaders Meeting also hosted by which country? It is hosted by Portugal. It is held in the hybrid format, but you have to remember, it is the first time that European Union has hosted a meeting with India in the EU plus 27 format. And guys, United Kingdom cannot be the answer, because United Kingdom is not now the member of European Union, because Brexit was there. So that's why Britain exit this European Union. Now United Kingdom can't host this type of the meeting. So it is hosted by Portugal. And you can see here, Narendra Modi is there, and he represented India in the European Union India Leaders Meeting of 8th of May 2021 via video conference. And you can also see here, this is Angela Merkel. Angela Merkel belongs to Germany. She is currently the Chancellor of Germany. And the meeting was hosted by default Prime Minister of Portugal, Mr. Antonio Costa. And this is the first time that European Union has hosted a meeting with India in the European Union plus 27 format. And India was basically invited in the meeting by the President of European Union Council. President of European Union Council is Charles Michel. Charles Michel. So India, EU to resume talks on the trade agreement. So because India and European Union agreed to resume talks on a comprehensive free trade agreement between the two areas, like India and the European Union, after a gap of 8 years, because in 2013 the free trade agreement between the India and European Union was suspended because both sides failed to reach on a common understanding on the bilateral trade and investment agreement. So now they just want to resume the talks related to the trade agreement between India and the European Union. So this is a positive point for India. Next, signing of India EU Connectivity Partnership Initiative. This is a new kind of the initiative, because both sides signed and launched the India EU Connectivity Partnership Initiative. The partnership will ensure transparent, inclusive and rule-based connectivity between the European Union and India, and with the third world countries like Africa, Central Asia and the Indo-Pacific area. And there is one most important organization, because under the partnership, particular focus will be given on the regional connectivity in the third world countries like BIMSTEC countries. BIMSTEC countries like Bay of Bengal Initiative for Multi-Sectoral Technical and Economic Cooperation has been identified as one of the geographical zone to focus on. Like BIMSTEC comprises India, Nepal, Bhutan, Bangladesh, Myanmar, Sri Lanka and the Thailand, and it is seen as a bridge between the South Asia and the Southeast Asia. Next, European Investment Bank and SBI to invest euro 100 million. This is again new kind of the thing, that European Investment Bank and State Bank of India signed a cooperation agreement to invest 100 million euro. For what purpose? To finance, to support Indian small and medium enterprises which are aiming to develop innovative solutions for the climate change, only for the climate change. It means 100 million euro only for the climate change, and it is European Investment Bank and State Bank of India. Next, European Investment Bank also donate euro 2,50,000 to India. It means almost 2.23 crore rupees to India to respond to the escalating COVID-19 crisis. But it will not given like in the cash. The donation will go to the UNICEF, Red Cross International, and also some other NGOs to improve access to the oxygen, or you can say ambulances, blood supply. All of these things will be provided. And European Investment Bank commits second installment or the tranche of 150 million euros for Pune Metro Rail project, because in the Pune Metro Rail project, European Investment Bank is investing so much money, and the second tranche is almost 1300 crore, and it will be provided by the European Investment Bank. Because European Investment Bank approved 600 million euros to fund the Pune Metro Rail project. Already they given 200 million euro. Now they are giving 150. It means total it will become 350. Only 250 will left after that. And guys, remember, Piyush Goyal addresses India European Union Business Roundtable. So Union Minister for Commerce and Industry Piyush Goyal virtually addressed the closing session of Confederation of Indian Industry European Union India Business Roundtable. So remember this, it is Piyush Goyal ji who is currently Union Minister of Commerce and Industry. So these are the things which are discussed between the India and the European Union summit. It is hosted by Portugal. And guys, remember, there are two things. One is the European Union, second is the European Investment Bank. European Investment Bank headquarters is in Luxembourg. Remember, Luxembourg. Exact place is Kirchberg, but Kirchberg is in Luxembourg. And second thing you have to remember, the president of the European Union. And how many countries are member of European Union? Countries are 27. Earlier were 28. But after the exit of Britain, it became the 27. And European Council President is Charles Michel. And European Commission headquarters is in Belgium, Brussels. So you can see here the options. Like Belgium is the headquarter of which organization? It is European Union. Luxembourg is European Investment Bank. So these two things are very important. Now we can move to the next question. Which state became the first Indian state to adopt an online flood reporting system? Because in India, all the states basically using manual flood control mechanism. Now, this state become the first Indian state to adopt an online flood reporting system, and this state is Assam. And this system is known as FRIMS. FRIMS stand for Flood Reporting and Information Management System. And with the launch, Assam become the first state in India to adopt an online flood reporting system. And guys, you can also see this. Assam comes up with the real-time digital flood reporting and the information management system, which is known as FIRMS. And the real-time flood reporting will address the data need for addressing the immediate needs of vulnerable groups like children and women, all the elder people. In addition, based on this, the government will also provide financial assistance for the restoration. And it will replace the state existing manual flood control mechanism with the web mobile application based technology driven system, which will report online about floods daily from the 15th of May 2021. It means this system, this FIRMS system, will be started on the 15th of May 2021. And Assam has a mandatory system of daily flood reporting between the 15th May to 15th of October 2021. And the system will provide information related to feeding at the source, immediate alert based verification at defined levels, and automatic compilation. So remember this is very important system which is started by Assam, and even UNICEF India also complimented the government of Assam for such initiative. So this is very important because UNICEF also complimented the state of Assam. So guys, recent related news you have to remember. Earlier, Jammu and Kashmir has partnered with the United Kingdom Space Agency program for a joint project on the impact-based flood forecasting using the Earth observations and based information for getting India's first impact-based flood forecasting. So this is again very important. This is a prototype just started between the Jammu and Kashmir and the United Kingdom Space Agency. And guys, remember about UNICEF because we discussed UNICEF, and UNICEF headquarters in New York. Executive Director is Henrietta Fore. And remember about Assam. Assam we already discussed that the new Chief Minister of Assam is Himanta Biswa Sharma, and he is the 15th Chief Minister of this state. Now we can move to the next question. Padam awardee Raghunath Mohapatra passed away. He was eminent. So in obituary, you have to remember three things. One is the name, Raghunath Mohapatra. Second, the field he belongs to. Third, the state he belongs to. So these three things you have to remember. So first we are covering the name, Raghunath Mohapatra. Second, he belongs to which state? He belongs to Odisha, and the field is he was sculptor. So answer of this question is B. So eminent sculptor and also the Rajya Sabha member and also Padam awardee Raghunath Mohapatra passed away due to COVID-19, and he was born in Odisha. That's why he belongs to Odisha state. And guys, you can see the picture of Raghunath Mohapatra. He was recently passed away. And guys, remember, Raghunath Mohapatra was nominated by President Ramnath Kovind as the first person from Odisha to the Rajya Sabha. So this is very important because there is a power with President that he can nominate 12 members in Rajya Sabha from arts, literature, science and social service. So that's why this person is the first person from Odisha in the Rajya Sabha which is nominated by President Ramnath Kovind. And guys, remember, the name is Raghunath Mohapatra, and he won all the Padam awards. This is again very important. He won the Padam Shri in 1975, Padam Bhushan in 2001, Padam Vibhushan in 2013. You don't have to remember the years. You don't have to remember that he won all the Padam awards. This is because I am discussing because this person is important. That's why he won these three type of the awards. And at the age of 22, he had won the National Award for Sculpture in 1964. And he was also nominated by the Ministry of External Affairs, Government of India, as a member of the Indian Council for Cultural Relation in year 2000. So that's why this personality is important. So you have to remember, he belongs to Odisha. He was also the Rajya Sabha member nominated by the President Ramnath Kovind ji, and he was sculpture, and name is Raghunath Mohapatra. Now we can move to next question. Olympic gold medalist M.K. Kaushik passed away. He was associated with which game? So guys, if you remember, yesterday we discussed a question about Ravinder Pal Singh. Ravinder Pal Singh. He was also died, like he was also Olympic gold medalist, but he passed away recently. He was also associated with the same game because he was also a part of same team with which M.K. Kaushik. And guys, answer of this question is hockey player. Hockey player. And you can see here that the picture of this player, Moscow Olympic gold medalist and former hockey coach M.K. Kaushik passed away. M.K. Kaushik passed away. So guys, you have to remember, like the Ravinder Pal Singh, he was also the member of Indian hockey team that won the gold medal in 1980 Olympics held in Moscow, Russia. Ravinder Pal Singh also won the gold medal because he was also the part of this team. He was also died yesterday. And M.K. Kaushik was awarded the Arjun Award in 1998 for his role as a sportsman, and also the Dronacharya Award in 2002 for his contribution as a coach. He had coached both the senior men and the women teams. Under the coaching, India men's team won a gold medal in 1998 in the Asian Games held in Bangkok. And guys, apart from the sport, he was also wrote a book known as the Golden Boot. Golden Boot. And he was also involved in the development of 2007 Bollywood movie like Chak De India, which was also based on the hockey. So you have to just remember this player name. Name is M.K. Kaushik. So now we can move to the next question, but you have to remember the state which he belongs to. He belongs to which state? He belongs to New Delhi. New Delhi. Now we can move to next question. So guys, all the very important questions are now covered. We are moving to important question. You have to provide us 700 plus likes. You have to subscribe this channel. You have to share this video as maximum as possible. Here is the question. Asian Games gold medalist Fortunato Franco passed away, or Fortunato Franco passed away. He was associated with which game? So you have to just remember the name of the player, that is Fortunato Franco. And it can be pronounced as Fortunato Franco. My pronunciation can be wrong again. So guys, remember, he was a part of 1962 Asian Games and he won the gold medal in the football team. So answer of this question is B. So in 1962 Asian Games gold medal winning football team in Jakarta, he was part of this team, and he was a part of 1960 Rome Olympics also. So guys, this player belongs to football. You have to remember the name of the player because it is a unique name, so you can just remember very easily that Fortunato or the Fortunato Franco. And you can see the picture of Fortunato Franco, former Asian gold medalist footballer, died at the age of 84. And he won the gold medal in the 1962 because his team won this medal in the Jakarta Asian Games. And he was born in 1937, Goa. It means he belongs to which state? Goa. So remember, name, state, and the game. These three things are very important. Now we can move to the one-liner important point. And first point here is Fareed Zakaria book titled 10 Lessons for a Post-Pandemic World. So we covered this book earlier, like 2 or 3 weeks ago. Like we are covering again because it is now released, like 10 Lessons for a Post-Pandemic World. This book is written by Fareed Zakaria. So guys, you have to remember just one thing, that this book basically attempts to outline the nature of life after COVID-19 and offers insight into what we should expect to truly be up against. And Zakaria argues that the consequences of this pandemic may not change the future so much as it would accelerate it. So guys, remember the name of the book. Next, Bajaj Finance got RBI's note for prepaid payment instruments. So the important thing under this one-liner point is prepaid payment instrument. Prepaid payment instruments are instruments that facilitate the purchase of goods and services, including financial services, remittances, fund transfer, etc., against the value stored in or on such instruments. And who can issue this prepaid payment instruments? Companies that are incorporated and registered under the Companies Act of 1956 or Companies Act of 2013 in India can issue and operate prepaid payment instruments after receiving authorization from the RBI. Now, Bajaj Finance also got this approval from the Reserve Bank of India. And guys, remember, there are purchasing, like you can say, prepaid payment instruments issued by the banks and non-banks. Like issued by the banks, also approved by the RBI, non-banks also approved by the RBI for the purchase of goods and services, including financial service, remittance facilities. And guys, remember, Bajaj Finance, it is the third largest non-banking financial company in India. It was started in 1987, and it was incorporated as the Bajaj Auto Finance Limited. Headquarters is in Pune and chairman is Sanjeev Bajaj. Next is new book Elephant by Paul Pickering. So the name of the book, you have to remember, Elephant, and the author is Paul Pickering. And the book is just about the love story between the Natasha and the man in Paris, and it explores the interface between the fact and the fiction. And why the name is Elephant? Because the elephant culturally symbolizes India more than any other country. And according to the author, this book Elephant is an affirmation of I am my voice. And my voice is big as an elephant, and which is turned in big as in creation. So that's why the book name is Elephant. Next is a new species. Name of this species is Bryochromia melbarica, or you can say Malabarica. New species of bryophyte discovered in Kerala, named after the Malabar coast. And guys, remember, this is the 12th species of the bryophytes described from the Kerala. And this is the second species identified under the Bryochromia, which was thought to be monotypic, represented by just one species. So just remember the name. It is a plant species. You have to just remember. Life in the Cloak Tar Valley, debut novel of the journalist Shakur Rathar. So he is basically a Delhi-based Kashmiri journalist named as Shakur Rathir, and he authored his debut novel, which is known as Life in the Cloak Tar Valley. Life in the Cloak Tar Valley. And the novel travels between the past, present, and the future of Kashmir, and it is related to Kashmir. And the book provides an insider view of everyday life and emotions in the Kashmir Valley through various love stories. And the book focuses on the emotions and the hardship of the common people of Kashmir and the conflict and the military presence in the region. So guys, remember, it is the journalist Shakur Rathir. Next, time of remembrance and reconciliation for those who lost their lives during the Second World War, which was happened between the 1939 to 1945. In 2021, it was celebrated or observed on the May 8th and 9th. So this day is just to create awareness about the misfortune of war and to pay tribute all the victims of World War II. And this year of 2021 marks the 76th anniversary of end of World War II. And the member state of the United Nations annually observe either one or the both days to pay tribute to the victims of the World War II. Either one like 8 or either 9, or both the days to pay tribute about the victims of World War II. And guys, this day also recognizes the efforts of the United Nations towards settling dispute through peaceful means and ensuring that international peace and security are not in danger. So that's why you have to remember it is the 76th anniversary of the end of World War II, which was happened in 1945, because in 1945 World War II ended. Now we are moving to the question of the day. What was the question of 9th and 10th of the May 2021? Question was, when did the Banking Regulation Act came into force? So this question was very simple question, and it was most important question. The Banking Regulation Act of 1949 is a legislation in India that regulates all banking firms in India, and it was passed as the Banking Companies Act of 1949. Remember, it was passed as the Banking Companies Act of 1949. It came into force from the 16th of March 1969. So answer of this question is A. And it changed to the Banking Regulation Act of 1949 from 1st of 1st of March 1966. Guys, remember earlier it was passed with the name of Banking Companies Act of 1949, but from 1st March 1966 it was changed to Banking Regulation Act of 1949, and it is applicable in Jammu and Kashmir from 1956. We already covered this question in the question of the day. Initially this law was applicable only to the banking companies, but in 1965, remember, but in 1965 it was amended to make it applicable to the cooperative banks and to introduce other changes. But in the year of 2020, like last year, it was amended to bring the cooperative banks under the supervision of the Reserve Bank of India. So this is important thing you have to remember. Now we are coming to the question of the day. What is the question of the day? For which of these countries the RBI has served as the central bank of the past? So guys, remember, very important question and the most important question, but it is very simple. For which of these countries the RBI has served as the bankers of the bank or the central bank? So you have to answer only in the comment box. I am waiting your answer. You have to provide us 700 plus likes. You have to subscribe this channel. You have to share this video as maximum as possible, and you have to press this bell button so that you can receive the notification on time. It is Affairs Cloud promise that it will boost your confidence in the general awareness section. Definitely, if you are reading the current affairs from the PDFs and if you are watching the videos regularly, then your current affairs section will go strong, definitely. And guys, you can subscribe our PDFs, but before that you have to download our application. Application link is given in description box. After downloading, you can subscribe for 1 year as well as for 2 years. And guys, you can also get the 10% extra discount if you use this code #10. And don't take life so much serious. Always be happy. Happiness is the key of success. This thing you have to remember. And thank you guys for watching this video. Take care. Bye bye.